Well, hey everyone, hope you are off to a great start on this actual Veterans Day. So I did not take a look at any of our pre-numbers, so I'm very curious to know what kind of audience we end up having today on this, of course, Veterans Day. And of course, shout out to all of the veterans that are out there. Thank you so much for your service, everything that you have done for our country. Past, present, and future. So many of us in the real estate industry, I know, are still active members. We're active members of the, armed services and whatever that looks like, anything from reserve to just, fighting on the front lines. Again, thank you so much for that service. And, the debt of gratitude that I personally have, I know my family has, for your service, can really truly never be expressed enough in words and through actions, really only. So again, thank you so much. We appreciate everything that you've done for us and, just making this country the amazing country that it is, and the awesome uptick that is really looking like it's happening from all financial markets. So that's actually one thing I'm very curious of. Again, we have a smaller audience than normal today. So I am curious, for those of you guys, what is going on in your particular area, with rates still kind of waffling. There's definitely some world talk, I think, that's going to not necessarily bode as well until some of this turmoil calms down, and of course that can affect some of the markets. Now, depending on what markets we're talking about, right? Like national markets. But here locally, we are definitely these last couple of weeks or last week experiencing a bit of a boom. I know stock market has been really solid, and it looks like it's probably going to be opening up on a really solid run today. I'm very curious what will happen with the bond market and the rates and everything that will end up happening on that front. So anybody have any foresight in or even reporting in your local market? I would certainly love to know. The chat is on. Feel free to share it with everybody on here, because again, even if I'm in Arizona, just a normal practicing agent, and knowing what's going on in Florida, I think sometimes that ripple effect really matters. And then not only that, I think kind of seeing some of the trends that are coming down the pike is a great way to create momentum and really inspire transactions. So that's going to be one of the things where we're going to start tearing apart today is how do we inspire more transactions? And we're really going to be peeling back the look on some lead magnets so that for home sellers, so that we can gather in more of those home seller leads. I think that there's an absolute massive pent-up demand. The way the transactions are forecasting this year, it's going to be one of the lowest transaction counts in literally decades. I think it's dating back all the way to like the middle of the 90s as far as the transaction count that's going to be on a national level. That's going to be as low as this year is projecting. With that said, the wild thing about that is when you think about how much the country has grown, how many more homes there are, et cetera. So when you really look at it from that percentage standpoint, it's no wonder why a lot of people have had a challenging year, and it's been more of a thin year to put it lightly. But let's go ahead and jump in and get rocking. What are lead magnets that we can do to attract sellers? So I want to give you guys a couple of hooks, right? Let me give you but rather than, giving you the hooks, right? Well, just jumping into this is a couple of steps in. I want to give you kind of set the stage and be clear that way, whether you're watching this on, end up watching it on YouTube, our Facebook group, or you're watching it live, whatever you're watching this on. I want to be able to set the stage appropriately so that you know what I am referring to. Okay, so number one, a lead magnet is just that, right? Like, how do we attract people that are looking to provide a service, right? In the words of more Seth Godin style, would be, what problem are we solving with, our product our service that we're bringing to the marketplace, right? Then we need to market those services of how we're going to solve those problems, right? So it's the buying process is almost a natural occurrence of this process when you have the solution to a need that they are experiencing. Okay, so what I want to do real quick here is let's take setting the stage is the homeowners looking for leads that are people that are homeowners that are possibly looking to sell, considering selling, right? Which is a really tall order. I personally had a conversation with somebody just this past weekend at my house where they were thinking about refinancing their house. And one of the things that they were talking about is, hey, we have credit card debt and some other debt we'd love to pay off, but it's really hard to think about getting rid of my 2.7 rate to go to 6. But this would at least allow me to take this equity, give me the breathing room that I need by wrapping it up. And it actually is cheaper for me on a monthly basis, even at the 6% rate. What do you think? And it's really, I think that, there's so many, I'm not going to go off on this particular subject in general, because obviously making ends meet right now is one thing. And I also am a huge believer, a lot of times paying off credit card debt. I mean, there's so many studies that show that you pay off the credit card debt in the consolidation. And if you don't have a true financial plan and money management skills that have been built on to get rid of that debt, you're just going to reduplicate the problem, right? So you're going to cut it off now and it'll eventually happen again. And you're just continually digging the hole, and you're almost kind of like living off of the equity in your main asset. Now, right? That's essentially what you are doing. You're taking a piece of your actual net worth and basically turning it into debt so that you can continue on living your lifestyle rather than changing it and dealing with the what's going on. Now, if you're going to do that, refi and start a business, etc., again, different conversation, but again. All right. So let's go back into these particular lead magnets, these hooks, and then of course I'm going to pull you into what solution do you have to be able to capture these leads, to be able to, kind of capture that form fill so that we can pull them in and constantly scale out our message so that we are constantly growing our contact list. And by growing our contact list and nurturing those leads, we are going to continually grow our business and grow our opportunities. That's what this is all about, right? If I'm going to grow my audience, my business by natural occurrence is also going to grow. So the first one I want to give to you here, right, as we look at this framework, we need to have how are we going to communicate to these people? Are we going to run an ad? Are we going to run an email campaign? Are we going to run a mail campaign? Are we going to, I won't speak to text because I think that's, kind of a more troubled area at this particular point. But you can absolutely even still run a unique value proposition and even run it on the phone, right? Hey, for example, just giving you guys clarity, right, around these hooks that I gave you here. Hey, this is, and these may be higher turn down calls, right? So I personally wouldn't do these, but I'm just going to give you the frameworks of what that might look like. How to pay off your house faster, right? Like it could be if I'm going to call maybe a contact list of people that I have that I don't know them as much, but I know that they own their house, right? Hey, this is Elliot. Hey, we haven't had a chance to talk in a while, but there's so much data out there right now that people are looking for ways to pay off their house faster. And I was curious if I could send you or share some information with you on how you could pay your house off as much as 10 years faster through this strategy. Sure, yes, no, maybe so, right? They're going to take it as that type of call, right? It's all about then pulling them in and giving them that long-term nurture sequence. Because if we're just calling them month after month and they're not in the selling cycle or even the consideration phase of the selling cycle, a lot of times we are going to rub them the wrong way that when it comes to the consideration and selling cycle, they're not going to consider us, right? So it's understanding how do we attract these people. So again, that was why I did that one, the third, that is really going to be something that you can do. It's very, very low cost, very, very high time, and very, very little scale, right? The next one I'm going to share with you is a mailing strategy of exactly what these particular hooks would work. Of course, there's going to be more cost to this, so that's going to be less scale, but it also could be very effective. And depending on the budget, you can actually do grand scale. Okay, so let me share with you what that would be, right? So now we have a postcard that says, curious on how to pay your house off 10 years faster, scan here. Right now it pulls them in, enter in your address, right? And then of course it pulls them through that cycle. And again, I'm going to give you guys the frameworks on where you're going to answer all of these questions here in just a second, right? Which is all things that the AI home report can do for you and your business, right? So we cast this question out there that is the actual, lead magnet, right? That you're throwing out there, how to, don't miss out, those types of things increase your how to, right? Like I just said a moment ago, these are things that are going to pull them in, capture their interest, right? Get them to scan, stop the scroll, engage with your email campaign, right? So these are different strategies that I want to share with you guys on how we can kind of pull these in for a very reasonable budget. So anyway, moving along here, what I want to do is share with you on this piece, the next one, after they scan in, right, they can come into the home report, right, and the AI is able to help them answer those questions and solve this problem for you. The next one I want to talk about is actually an email campaign. Now, the problem with an email campaign, of course, is we have to have some type of contact, right? The beauty of the one before is by driving to that page, entering their address, it is going to get Mr. or Mrs. to opt in. They have to enter in their contact information so that they can get what they're looking for. It's the natural occurrence that happens in most occasions. So if that's done via postcard or via social media ad, even AdWords through a pay-per-click campaign, those types of things, you can do that. Now, one of the things I'm a huge fan of doing in this strategy I just shared with you guys is the Facebook, what I call the one-click lead campaign. Right, so that's this strategy to where they're scrolling, they see it, and it actually automatically fills the lead's contact information in there via their Facebook profile, their name, email address, right? And it's just super quick. It fills it automatically. They have to click submit, and then you have to be able to deliver on that value prop. Okay, so that's a framework that I would sharing a framework with you guys there. That's what that looks like. Now, the other one I want to talk about is that email campaign, right? Maybe we have, let's say you've been an agent or whatever, you have a larger contact list and you have a couple thousand email addresses. Well, this is where you're going to be able to run these different call to action email campaigns to see what triggers people, right? That's why you'll constantly hear me talk about the launch campaign, because that has great calls to action for people that are starting the consideration phase of selling their house, right? And in most cases, that's going to range anywhere from 4 to 8%, depending on your database, area, those types of things, right? So if I have a database that's a more transient area as far as in and out with people coming, upgrading, those types of things, then I want to be able to utilize that percentage. And a lot of times if I can get them to open it, it's an engaging subject line, I'm going to get a good open rate. If I'm going to, then from there, as long as my email body content is in line with my subject line, my CTA is clear, a lot of times I'm going to get a click, right? So that's where we talk about those open rates on that. If it's north of 20%, that's great. And then a click rate, a lot of times anything north of 5% is actually good marketing. Well, the cool thing is with some of these very unique calls to action that line up with people, and you're talking about their specific property, especially if we can tease some data about their property, that click rate will really, really climb. And that's where we start seeing those click rates north of 20%, right? Which again, we do that, we draw them in there, and that's where we're able to capture, them looking at the page, what they're clicking on, the length of the view, right? All of those different things that are going to be able to give you access to basically let you know who you should be focusing on and how you, and how you can contact them, right? By seeing what they're looking at, then it just makes it a very easy conversation to call them up and say, hey, I see that you were checking out the Cash Plus home selling program, a whole new way to sell your house. I was curious, did you want to know how that program works? Or are you actually thinking about getting a cash offer on your home? So these are, again, just different hacks on your side of things on how you could really elevate conversations. And as we know, conversations equal closings. Okay. So I see, Barry, I got a question from you here in just a moment. I'm happy to answer that in just a second for you here when I get that, when I can open up the questions and see that here. Okay, so the next thing I want to do here real quick, as we look at these hooks, so if you've had a chance to get these hooks, to look at this, right, these are different calls to action of different programs that you guys have inside of Zoodealio, right? And the beauty of the AI home report is it is going to actually monitor all of these things for you. Okay, so as we go into this here, what I want to share, let's go into a home report. Okay, is driving back after these calls to action, right? Like, how can I pay my house off? In a faster, how can I pay my house off 10 years faster, right? How can I pay off my house quicker, right? These are the types of things that the AI is going to give you them particular strategies, right? And here's the cool thing is you're going to see in just a moment. Talking about extra payments, lump sum payments. And the beauty of one of the things on this, right, is not only going to do this, it can actually start breaking down what their rate is. And if I have a 4% rate and I owe this much and I want to pay off in 18 years, how would I do that, right? Like if by making a 13th payment, how much faster can I pay my house off, right? Let's ask. By making a 13th payment on my house, how much faster will that pay off the house? Right? So these are the types of fun things that you want to draw people back to, right? So I need to know your current mortgage interest rate, right? Balance. See, these are the types of things that I love because now it's really going to start digging in and getting into the weeds with that person so that it can answer the question. Okay, so let's see. I need to know your current mortgage interest rate, your loan balance, and remaining term. Okay, let's see. Let's answer the question, and we'll make up a scenario. My rate is 3.5%. Let's see. My loan balance is let's say 525, and I have 25 years left on my mortgage. Okay, let's see what gets returned. So while we're going through this, guys, this is the really cool thing of like AI, right? It's able to just articulate very clearly the how, what, and why of different pieces, right? So you have these, making the extra 13 payments each year can significantly reduce your mortgage. By making this payment, you can potentially pay off your mortgage approximately 3 to 4 years early, right? And so sometimes by making that 13th payment, which is usually always 100% principal, especially when you say apply to principal, right? These are the types of things that's going to give you that strategy of how to pay your house off, and e.g. directly to principal, as I was just saying there. This also reduces the total interest paid over the life of the loan. So that's the biggest thing what you're doing, right? You're technically paying less for your house by making that 13th payment than if you were to just make the typical 360 payments over that 30 years, because you're paying less interest. And so these are the types of things, guys, that you want to start getting into your homeowners' hands, because these are what they're doing. And if we're looking at the life cycle of these types of things, and you can capture this level of conversation, right, then it's given back to you. The beauty of it is now you really have a tremendous opportunity to jump in and have an intelligent conversation with your homeowners. So by giving them that hook, you pull them in. Now here's the cool thing, guys. They come in here, and month after month, they're going to be getting this report on their house that's monitoring their value, so they can see when it goes spikes. Maybe they want to sell. Maybe it goes down. They didn't want to sell, right? Maybe they've lived there a whole bunch of time, and even though it's going down, they're like, hey, we better hurry up and sell because I want to take advantage in another area, right? And here's one of my favorite things that we did in this. So many homeowners own multiple properties. Approximately 15 million Americans own more than one house, right? So that gives them an opportunity to potentially add in another property. It's something that you didn't even know that they had, right? So maybe a friend or a coworker that you didn't know that they had another property. Well, now they maybe own that property for 15 years. It's fully depreciated. They've had a tenant on it. Maybe the tenant didn't leave it in the best condition. They're just like, I'm done. I want to cash out my equity, right? Now, by doing this, and they're down here in this section, and they're talking about the fix it, list it, and this is being sent to them month after month. Well, you're now inspiring that transaction that I was talking about before. That is the beauty of about exactly what a lead or a hook does, is it inspires a conversation to happen on a value proposition that you have that they maybe didn't know that you had, right? That's not a common knowledge to know that, hey, agents are going to always have a solution to come rehab my house with $0 out of pocket, then resell my house for me, and I get to keep all the proceeds, right? All the profit. Not all the proceeds, all the profit. So that's the beauty of this whole piece, right? Is we get to really have this unique value prop that we can send out to them month after month. And it's done, like I said, an infinite nurture process. The other beauty is what if they are looking for another rental? Well, what if they have 4 or 5 properties and you didn't know that? Well, you call them and, you get into a conversation, and now all of a sudden you're able to find out that they are maybe they're thinking about selling this property, but it's worth, a bunch, and they're going to, and this one's paid off because they've owned it for, umpteen years. And now they're going to liquidate this one, and they're going to buy 3 other properties and put, 20% down on all of them, right? Because of the way the cash flow structure works, or maybe you educate them on that particular process, right? So these are, again, just different things I want you guys to think about that you have access to here in this tool to pull them back and really start putting yourself into being that pro conversation, true advisor. So again, really cool stuff that you have access to, all from the lead magnet standpoint when it comes to that. Okay. So those of you guys that have not seen this piece, right, I will show this one, again, just because it goes perfectly with that fix and list that we were talking about. They can come in here, see how the different value proposition breaks down. They can see how all of this happens, right, and the different, potential value with the, potential repairs that would be put into the property. They can ask Z about different programs and different things that are going on inside here. They can come in here and look at before and afters, right? And anytime that this view cash offer details is clicked in your home report, you are notified in the notification center, right? So that's a really beautiful thing for, again, knowing that people are checking this out. Not only now are they opening, are they clicking, they're now clicking on the view cash offer details, and it's also being reported back to you the length of time that they're monitoring or checking these types of things out, right? Which is something that's coming out very soon as well within the agent dashboard. Okay, so one other quick thing I want to discuss here is after it, so now that we have an understanding of the actual home report, right, that's here, and knowing what's kind of behind the curtain, what we're going to draw them back to, what that looks like from that particular hook, right? So the hook gets them, right, and we first got to capture that lead, right? So now you have the hook, you have the ad, you have the piece, right? Unlock your home's estimate, right? So now it's going to take them through that valuation process. So whether you want to run them back to here or you run them back to a form fill, right, which would be typically form fill, just for those of you that don't know what I'm talking about, is basically going to be this piece here as soon as this takes a moment. So this kind of pulls them in, right? Get started, boom, and then the form fill is the lead capture. Okay, so you can actually run them to this particular page. You can run them to the address page, right? Let's get started with your with your home report, right? So the beautiful thing here is this does the lead capture for you, alerts you, pulls them all right in, right? This is kind of a one-stop shop solution to you creating that hook. So now you have one simple job, and it's to go out there and communicate the lead magnet. What problem are you going to solve for your audience, and how big of a scale are you going to do it? Right now, the other things obviously to consider as you go through this, what mediums are you going to choose to circulate the value proposition, right? Is it going to be mail? Is it going to be media / pay-per-click? Is it going to be email campaign? Now, I'm a big proponent of all three of those and making them work together, right? So the beauty of this is you can actually run, start with like a social ad, right? Because the beauty of that is they're lower cost. You can drop a pin in your office, drop a pin on your office with a 10-mile radius, which is the minimum, or even go a little bit bigger, 20-mile radius, right? Or maybe you want to farm a certain part of that's, a newer development area, which sometimes will have a higher turnover rate. Those types of things, right? So the goal, of course, is to find a target area that you're going to get a return on the investment, right? The ROI. You want to focus on that first. And of course, one of those things is being able to lock down on a turnover rate. Now, on this strategy of dropping the pin via Facebook, like I said, you're going to be able to set a minimum of a 10-mile radius to begin with. So anyhow, with that strategy, once you pull them in, they come to your ad, right? As long as we have retargets and those things set up, your ad will potentially follow them. That's just via Facebook all by itself. Well, then let's say that you're doing a postcard inside of an area, which we can be a little bit more hyper-focused, because now I can actually double down on 500 homes in, Crystal Palette or Crystal Cove or whatever, the subdivision is that you want to target. Right? So then now anytime anybody scans that, comes to this particular page, your pixel would now pick them up and follow them, right? So now they come in, they don't opt in, this sounds interesting, but now all of a sudden tonight they're scrolling Facebook and boom, your ad pops up, right? Now let's say that we also have their email address. Of course, in this situation, I'm going to have opted them into the home report already, but sometimes people don't know what they don't know, and they don't know what's behind that opt-in, right? Just as, monitor your home's value, trends, insights, etc. Right? This allows you to really put a spotlight on the unique value proposition of, hey, see how to pay your house off as much as 10 years faster, right? It's those types of things that can really help hook the lead in, and then we show them how they do it. And then here's the cool thing. even though they're in the live cycle of the home process. The reality of it is they're going to go through the sell cycle at some point in the ownership of that home, whether it's tomorrow or 25 years from now, right? And the reality of it is maybe you don't want to be there in 25 years when they go to sell that house, but I would imagine for the foreseeable future, you're going to want to be able to service and assist them in the home sale process when that sales cycle triggers. So that's the beauty of this home report, is this is going to monitor and nurture that data, those their behavior trends, and alerting you to when they are going to be ready to sell, right? With the notifications and different things that happen that we capture on our end and then report back to you. Okay, so that is, kind of the whole framework of what that is, how that works, and what that looks like for doing that on your business. So just a quick recap on all of that for everybody. We have the ability to, launch out my lead magnet. What is the problem that we're going to solve? What is my hook, right? We have to have that juicy hook. So going back to that again real quick, just for a quick reminder for everybody and some of the people I see joined a little later here, right? The lead magnets to attract sellers, how to pay off your house faster, right? Good compelling hook, especially for somebody that's in the the live cycle of the home ownership piece, right? And then of course, how to buy a new home before you sell your current one. Boom, another big one, right? These are people. This is a huge, huge market because so many people, when I sell my house, do I have to live with my in-laws? Do I have to get an Airbnb? How am I going to qualify? Can I qualify? Do I have to have 2 mortgage payments? What does this look like? Can I time it right? There's just a lot of uncertainty and a lot of stress and anxiety that happens there. So much so that many, many people choose not to do it because they feel like it's uncomfortable. They may want to move if it's convenient. They may want to move if it makes sense. And that's where we, as the pros in this, we get to inspire those transactions. So do yourself that favor, be that pro, bring that conversation, bring the solution to that problem through that strategy, right? And then of course, this is another good one for a good live cycle of leads, right? Increase your net worth, home hack. Right? And then now what we're going to be able to do in that is bring them into strategies of how they could improve their property, right? All things that the AI can answer for them. Hey, if I was to rehab my kitchen, what type of potential return could I get, right? If I was to buy another property and, I put this much down and this much of an appreciation, how much would my net worth be in 5 years from now, right? So these are all just different tools that you're going to be able to bring to your audience so that you can engage them in real estate conversation. So that's the beauty of what you have at your fingertips. And the beauty of it, again, guys, is realize the AI here is literally like a marketing assistant that's very intelligent on data, can do math like nobody's business, and really ultimately answer virtually any question within reason, right? They're going to be able to handle for you. And of course, the beauty of that is that then you're going to be then given access to that particular conversation. Outside of that, I know, again, that on Veterans Day here, I want to see if we have any questions. So Barry, it sounds like he's got a support one. So Barry, what you can do on that, there's a main number that you can access inside of that, but I will absolutely make sure that the team gives you a call on this because, again, we want to make sure that we pride ourselves in customer service and always being available. The other thing I want to speak to here that would really, for faster response, is to actually access the chat inside of your site. So one of the things I want to show you real quick here, by clicking on the chat, right, we can come in here and see the different departments that you have access to. So there's the property analysts and offers department that deals with all of the buyers, those types of things, right? We are the conduit within Zoodealio to the different cash buyers that are buying homes within the platform, right? Sales is not only around the home report, but it's also around strategy, right? So in the event that you want to look at, hey, I want to try this particular strategy, is this something that you think would work? We want to be able to assist you and make sure that you're growing your business. And then generalized support is all the above, but as well as technical support. Like, let's say, for example, you want to change your URL, you want to change your headshot, change your logo, you have a question about something technically, that would be the source of all of those things right here. So you can come in here, click this different department, type in your message, and be able to start a live chat right there very quickly and very easily. So make sure you utilize that. It will help you out and get things resolved for you quicker when it comes to that. So anyway, with that said, if anybody else does not have any other questions for me, we can conclude a little bit earlier than normal, and we can get out there to selling some houses or getting back to maybe lining up some Veterans Day Veterans Day fun, if that's what you're going to do today. So thank you so much as always for attending. We enjoy you being with us week after week. Do yourself a favor, use these hooks, create a compelling lead magnet for the marketplace so that you're constantly pulling people in. Remember, your business is always going to grow to the extent that the problems that you solve. So solve problems in a big way, and you'll have a business in a big way. Thanks so much. Catch you on the next one.